What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today's video is going to be on the Miami Heat, and we're going to be talking about how this team is faced with a very tough decision, and we're going to jump right into the video. Now, the Miami Heat are coming off a fairly successful season. They finished with the best record in the Eastern Conference, and they were also able to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. But if we ask anybody within the Miami Heat's organization, they'll tell us that this season was a letdown because they did not reach their ultimate goal, which was winning an NBA championship. And as the Miami Heat go into this offseason, there's a lot of things that they have to take care of. And at the top of their list has to be the contract situation of Tyler Herro. Tyler Herro is near the end of his rookie deal, which means going into this offseason, he's going to be eligible for a contract extension. And a lot of people think that Tyler Herro is going to ask for a max deal, and this will be very hard for the Miami Heat to do with the way the roster is currently constructed. Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and Duncan Robinson make a ton of money, and it eats up a lot of the Miami Heat's cap space. And this is where that hard choice comes in for the Miami Heat. Do they look to move some of these players to free up the cap space to pay Tyler Herro a max deal, or do they look to shop Tyler Herro, who's a young, valuable trade piece in this league? And if we look at the first side of it, we look at them giving Tyler Herro that max deal. Is Tyler Herro worth that max deal? And if we look at the year he just had, at 22 years of age, averaging 22 points per game, winning Sixth Man of the Year, which is very impressive. And then also just the overall impact that he had for the Miami Heat this year. Their best players, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, missed a lot of games this season, and most of the time when those guys were out, Tyler Herro was the guy stepping up to help his teammates win some of these ball games, and he's one of the biggest reasons that the Miami Heat finished with the best record in the Eastern Conference. So it's very safe to say that it's safe to say that the Miami Heat will not be in the position that they were in this season without Tyler Herro. So there's that. And then also, we just look at Tyler Herro, the growth that he's had since he's come into the NBA. I think he's gotten a lot better. His rookie year, we all knew that he can shoot the basketball. He could shoot the three-point shot. He could shoot from the mid-range, off the catch, off the dribble. It didn't matter. That's something that he's always excelled at. And I think if we fast forward 3 years later now, the player that he is, I think he's a much more complete offensive player. I think he's really well at handling the ball and getting downhill and finishing at the rim with both hands. And then I also think he's gotten a lot better at hitting more contested and difficult shots. And then not only that, but I think an underrated aspect of his game is his playmaking ability. And we saw a lot of times that he was the primary ball handler for the Miami Heat when he ran with the second unit. And I think something specifically that he's gotten a lot better at is running the pick and roll. And I think he's displayed that he can make the reads while running that pick and roll, and he's gotten a lot better at that situation. So since he's come into the league, I think he's been on a much more steady he's been trending upwards since he's gotten to the league, and I think he's going to continue to get better. And I think that has max contract written all over it. And I think, and especially in today's NBA, a lot of guys get max contracts. So I think Tyler Herro at the age of 22, averaging 22 points per game, winning Sixth Man of the Year, and showing that he's constantly getting better, I think he deserves a max contract. But it's going to be really hard for the Miami Heat to do with guys like Duncan Robinson, who's making $90 million a year for 5 years, and then Kyle Lowry makes a lot of change as well. It's going to be hard to move one of those guys, and I think those two would be one of the guys that the Heat will have to move to be able to pay Tyler Herro. And we look at Duncan Robinson. Now, he's a great three-point shooter, and I think with his trade situation, it's all about optics. He started off starting for the Miami Heat, and then by the end of the season, he was completely out of the rotation. So that might make a lot of other teams hesitant when it comes to trading for him. And then also with Kyle Lowry, he's just an older player in his league, and he's on the back end of his career, and we'll really only see a contending team trade for Kyle Lowry. So I feel like it would be very hard to move one of those guys. So that's that with that situation. But if anybody can make that work, it would be Pat Riley. We know he's a miracle worker, and he's done it before. So that's the one side of giving Tyler Herro the max deal, which I am a fan of. And then also this is something that's been starting to buzz lately, is shopping Tyler Herro. Now a lot of people think the Miami Heat should move on for him and use him as a trading chip. And the most famous trade, or the most popular trade I've been hearing, is the one for Donovan Mitchell. Now, me personally, Donovan Mitchell is one of the best young players in this league. I think he's a generational talent. So I don't think it would be just as easy as trading Tyler Herro straight up for Donovan Mitchell. So it probably would be some other players involved in that. So that's something that we have to consider. But let's just say if they do, if the Miami Heat can just pair Jimmy Butler and Donovan Mitchell, I think that's something that a lot of GMs in this league would at least look at. And that's why I think it makes this whole situation hard, because a lot of these things is something that's hard to pass up on. But we look at Donovan Mitchell as a basketball player. We've seen him be great in the regular season, and what makes him so special is in the postseason, he takes his game to a whole nother level, and he's a legit 3-level scorer in this league. He can shoot the 3 ball off the dribble, off the catch. It doesn't matter. He can get to his spots in the mid-range. He gets a lot of elevation on his pull-up jumpers. And then we all know how vicious he is going downhill. He can punch it over just about any center in this league. So he's a very explosive and dynamic basketball player. And a lot of people think that the Miami Heat need a co-star. They think they need to bring in another guy alongside Jimmy Butler, and if they can get Donovan Mitchell, that would be crazy. It would be really fun to watch. And then there's other guys that the Miami Heat can consider trading for. You got Bradley Beal with the Washington Wizards, who might be looking to change up teams because he's ready to win now. And same thing with Donovan Mitchell, another 3-level scorer. Bradley Beal is very smooth, great at shooting the 3 ball, and he also is great at getting to the mid-range and finishing around the rim. And then you have a guy like OG Anunoby in Toronto, and he's not yet a star in this league, but it's just something to consider. There's reports that he's not happy with the Toronto Raptors, so we'll see what that could happen. But obviously, the dream trade for the Miami Heat is if they can somehow acquire Donovan Mitchell and pair him with Jimmy Butler. I think that would have all of the NBA nervous. But I think people need to stop falling in love with the co-star thing, because if you look at the Miami Heat, I think they were in a great situation. I think something that caught up to them is just they were exhausted in injuries. You look at their best players on the team. You look at Jimmy Butler banged up, Tyler Herro banged up, PJ Tucker banged up, Kyle Lowry hurt, Max Strus was hurt. All those guys was injured, and it just caught up to them. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons, and I know it sounds like an excuse, but it is what it is. That's one of the biggest reasons that they lost, just injuries, and they were exhausted. So I think if the Miami Heat can somehow bring back their same team and run it back and give Tyler Herro, bring him into that starting role and give him a bigger role and let him fill those shoes, I think it could still work out for the Miami Heat. But you guys let me know down in the comments, should they look to shop Tyler Herro, or should they bring him back? You guys let me know down in the comments. That's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment down below if you agree or disagree, and then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, and that's curtains.